Welcome back, everyone. Great to be here with you as always. Today is our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show. We're going to be talking about today the 5 most popular intermittent fasting methods. And by the end of the show, I want to share with you the 5, I would say the 5 top ones, but I also want you to pick the one that you feel is right for you. And they're very different, which means that I think there's going to be one for everyone by the time you get through the show. I'll also, at the end of the show, give you exactly what I do and why I found it to work best for my body. Really, that's what it's all about at the end, is making sure that you're getting the results that you want. Not what you just believe is best for you, but actually getting the results that you're looking for. So, of course, we need to know the results we're looking for. And once you do, then you're going to be able to custom tailor a diet for your needs. So let's dive right into it. So intermittent fasting, obviously one of the most popular topics out there right now. We now have an entire podcast category dedicated to it. If you haven't listened to our previous 40 or 50 intermittent fasting shows, please do go to stephencabral.com/2133. That is today's show notes, and I will link up the entire intermittent fasting category. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, all the major players out there. And of course, we're always looking to answer your questions. So whenever there is a question, whenever there is a comment, that's why these shows are created. So people always ask, like, what's the best form of intermittent fasting? Well, we're going to go through it today because I don't believe there is really one best form. What I want to do is share with you 5 different forms. And then I have a podcast on every single one of these today, and we're going to link them all up. So I'm going to go through 5 just for about a minute or two. That's it. But I have a 15-minute show on each one of these that details it and how to do it. So we'll link those up. Again, these are all completely free. stephencabral.com/2133 for more information. All right, the first intermittent fasting diet, I guess a diet doesn't sound like the right thing, but really a diet is whatever you follow in terms of a nutrition plan, right? So if I say, hey, this is my diet, it's the same thing as saying, hey, this is my nutrition plan. It's a much easier way of saying it. Dieting doesn't mean you're always trying to lose weight. Dieting doesn't mean you're always trying to reduce your calories. It's simply the food that you're eating. Now, again, you can use it to mean the diet that you're on to lose weight. But, if you're on like people say, a bodybuilding diet or a paleo diet or a low FODMAP diet, whatever it might be, well, again, it doesn't mean low calorie and doesn't mean weight loss. It's just the nutrition plan that you're following, okay? So, and the last thing I'll state is if you're brand new to intermittent fasting, an intermittent fast on its base level, foundational level, is going 12 hours without eating, right? So let's say you stop at 6 at night and you go to 6 the next morning. That would be an intermittent fast. 7 at night to 7 the next morning, 8 at night, 8 in the next morning. That's a 12-hour intermittent fast. Of course, some are longer, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So the first is this. Intermittent fast, number 1 is 16-8. It's definitely one of the most popular out there, and because it really simplifies life, and it has people, for the most part, eating just twice a day. I've given you a lot of the negatives around this before, but I've certainly talked about the positives as well. Just like on yesterday's show on fermented foods and supplements, I give you the pros, and then I give you the cons, because not everything is rainbows and sunshine, right? So that's what we like to share, is both sides of the equation. We don't have to be so biased in one direction. Well, 16-8 is simply going 16 hours without eating, and then your eating window is 8 hours. So we do some 16-8 in our Fatlocity weight loss system, and it still allows people 3 meals per day instead of 2. And the reason is, I don't believe that you're going to get in enough micronutrients and your digestion is going to be strong enough to just get it in 2 meals. I think people are going to be hypocaloric. I think they're going to be catabolic. I think they're going to be losing muscle mass. I think they're going to be lowering their metabolism with 2 meals a day. I just don't know how you'd be able to pack in that much good nutrition with that many vegetables at one meal. And also, how would you get your fruit in? Because you don't want to put your fruit at a meal. It's not going to combine very well. So what do? Right? Like, how do we make this happen? You can make it happen. You just have to be very diligent. That's all. So I say, hey, if you're doing 16-8, no problem. And then I give you the problems with skipping breakfast, meaning like most people have their intermittent fast upside down. Dinner should be the smallest, ideally, and breakfast not the biggest meal of the day, but certainly breakfast helps to reduce cortisol levels and stress in the morning. Again, that's a topic for another show. I don't want to give you necessarily all the pros and cons right now, but I want to say is this: 16-8 makes it really easy, right? So think about it this way. Let's say you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, right? A lot of people stop eating, let's say, by 8 o'clock at night. All right, we've got 4 hours till midnight, and then we go till noon the next day. All right, so it's basically just don't eat until noon. I mean, that's a better way of saying the 16-8. Don't eat until noon, right? That's an easier way of saying it. So then you have lunch, and then you might have dinner at like 7 o'clock at night. Well, if you want, you can put in one easy to digest snack or smoothie right in the middle, and you'd be able to get 3 meals. So you can definitely do a 16-8. We actually talk about it during the Fatlocity system. We don't have people fast until noon. It's not what we do. We just haven't seen it work that well for women, especially with their thyroid and estrogen dominance. Okay, so easy to follow. Can work great for all the benefits of intermittent fasting, and that's definitely one of the most popular. All right. Number 2, the second most common type of intermittent fast is an up-down diet. Again, I'm going to link up to detailed podcasts on each one of these. It's oftentimes called, though, the 5-2 diet. What does it mean? Well, it essentially means 5 days of eating normal and then 2 low-calorie days. Now, you might say, well, why is it called an intermittent fast? It's really not. It's more of a misnomer, except if you're getting 12 hours. I just believe that everyone should get 12 hours overnight. Again, stop eating at more hours before you go to bed, the better. So, and you'll see that on your sleep tracking biometrics if you track your sleep. But simply put, let's say this. Okay, you don't stop eating maybe until 8 o'clock at night. All right, you just go to 8 o'clock the next morning, and then you eat normally whatever you'd like to eat one day. And then let's say you do that for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, what do? Oh, okay, you have a low calorie day, maybe 500 calories. There are different ways of doing this, and you can even do it by macros as well. But again, I'll link up a more in-depth podcast on that. Then that would be Wednesday, just 500 calories. Okay, and then Thursday, Friday, back to normal eating. And then Saturday, 500 calories. Sunday, back to normal eating. Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, repeat. So 5 days a week, normal calories. You're still going your 12 hours overnight, and then you have 2 down days. Up-down diet is what it's called. Now, that's number 2. And again, there are pros and cons to each. What is the pros and cons to this one? And then number 3, well, let's get into number 3 and I'll share the pros and cons of both. This one can also be called up-down dieting, is actually much more appropriate term, a much more appropriate term. And here's why. So the up-down diet is eating a higher amount of calories one day and then lower the next, right? And then the 5-2, it's 2 days, like a Wednesday and Saturday, where they're going to be lower. Very simple, very easy. You can pick Monday and Thursday if someone's doing an up-down diet or a 5-2. That's typically what I recommend, and here's why. Most people are eating maybe just a little bit more than they should, eating out maybe more on the weekends. So what I like people to do is on Monday, okay, that's their down day, right? Well, that's the 5-2. So Monday, Thursday, or let's say Wednesday, Saturday, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, just keep a couple days in between. Alternate day fasting. Well, this one is actually exactly what it's meant to be, right? So this is a true up, down, up, down, up, down. That's the repetition with that. So one day eating whatever you want, okay, whatever you want. The next day, only 500 calories. And again, you can actually change the macros. So higher fat, lower carbs, higher fat, lower carbs and protein, higher carbs, low fat, low protein. You change it, and you can actually manipulate the calories as well, because 500 is kind of an arbitrary number, right? A lot of these diets say, well, 500 calories. Well, it's a huge difference if the person's 120 pounds and they eat 500 calories versus a person's 180 pounds and they eat 500 calories, right? And it's even a bigger difference if someone's like an athlete or they have a high metabolism and they're used to eating 2,500 calories and then they go down to 500, like 20%, right? What if someone's eating 1,500 and they go to 500? So now they're still getting 30%. So it's actually not exactly equivalent. So you might want to look at, okay, you're eating 25% of your normal calories for the up down. Now, alternate day is just like it sounds. One day it might be 2,000 calories, the next day 500, then the 2,000, then the 500, then maybe it's 2,200 because you're eating whatever you want, and then down to 500. Why do the up down diets work? Here's why they work. They manipulate and control calories for the most part. Now, do they help with levels of inflammation? They do on the down days. And that's because if you're taking in less food, there's less oxidative stress created, because the normal thermogenic process of food and digestion takes quite a bit of energy, and it also creates offsetting metabolites and free radicals created by the oxidative process of digestion, meaning like there's inflammation created by normal processes in your body. So believe it or not, that is what happens when you eat. So what do we have? Well, if there's less food coming in, then there's going to be less oxidative stress and less oxidative process. So there is actually an anti-inflammatory component to the down days. The problem is when people are allowed to eat whatever they want on the other days, then you often get too much inflammation on those days. So there's just no balance to these whatsoever. I don't love up-down diets. I really don't. It's kind of like what I spoke about last week on the DASH diet and the high blood pressure diet. I hope you tuned into that show. That was that 2 weeks ago? Let's see. Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago. Okay. It was episode, let's see, 2111. So if you didn't check that out, I would definitely check it out. It's a very realistic diet for people with high blood pressure that can be a good transition-based diet. So again, I know a lot of people that use the 5-2 or the alternate day diet as a way to start to transition to a healthier diet, because they can say, okay, I get to eat whatever I want today, but tomorrow, okay, I'm going to be on point, less calories. Okay, then I can do what I want tomorrow. Now, the problem is, one more con I have to give you to this is it doesn't necessarily mean you're eating your healthy food, right? It doesn't mean that you've chosen healthy foods in your 500 calorie days. So I just kind of want to throw that in there. If you're doing the lower calorie day, I would try to do like a smoothie and then a salad with some good quality protein. Keep your calories low, 400 or 500 calories, but try to choose nutritious foods on your down days. All right, that's number 3. Number 4 is a 24-hour weekly fast. Now, it's interesting because I heard about a 24-hour weekly fast a long time ago. We're talking like 2005. And I heard it from Brad Pilon, Pilon, maybe 2 L's. And I was part of a health and fitness group with him way back in the day. And this is basically before he was writing this particular book and coming out with it as an ebook. And that was very popular. And it was called Eat, Stop, Eat. And it's old now, like 15 years old, but it was one of the first, like, well-researched, well-documented. But in my brain back then, I'm in my early 20s, I'm thinking, really? You're going to tell people not to eat for a full day? It made no sense to me. So that's why we have to understand is like, in general, I don't know if this is true. And I think it's true for a lot of people listening to this podcast. I don't know if it's true for the world at whole, but I hope that, as we get older, we just start to stay more open to ideas because we've been exposed to more, we've had more experiences, and we understand that sometimes things aren't as they seem at first glance. Now I look back, and of course I look back a couple of years later when I was getting much more into functional medicine and advanced nutritional biochemistry, that this made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense because what it did, and he was using it for weight loss for the most part, but it was really remarkable in what it did for autophagy. And people weren't even really talking about autophagy until like 2016, 2017, when it won the Nobel Prize in oncology for cancer-based research, and how fasting for an extended period of time, really like 24 hours, allows your body to kill more cancer cells that are always being produced inside your body. They don't always become cancer, but the cells are being metastasized and created, and they need to be destroyed. So fasting actually allows the white blood cells in the body itself, natural killer cells, to kill those cells that are beginning to replicate and duplicate out of control. All right, so really important, 24-hour fast. Now, here's the nice thing. This is where it gets even more interesting, and why. Okay, well, let's give you the pros, right? So you're not eating for a full day. So all the energy you would use for digestion, you actually get back. So oftentimes people can feel more energetic. They feel lighter. They don't even think about food for a day. That's pretty nice as well. Again, I've got lots of podcasts on those, so I'll share those today at 21:33. But the negatives are, well, what happens if you don't have a great relationship with food? What happens when you get hungry? Are you able to deal with the highs and lows in blood sugar if your body's not metabolically adapted? And I spoke about that just last week on episode 2119, or I guess that was 2 weeks ago. So you can check out that show. We'll try to link that up for you today. But over the years, we'll say beginning like 2009, 2010, I started adapting this in a different way. I started using it myself and then in my practice, because again, I always want to make sure that I'm practicing what I preach. So I started to go Sunday night. So I typically have dinner with my family around 5:30, 6 p.m. We try to finish by 6:30 the latest every night, so that I myself too get 3 hours to 3.5 hours before going to bed of basically no eating. And then for my daughters, it also gives us another hour or so after dinner time in order just to be able to hang out as a family and do things that we enjoy. So really important though, because I always want to have dinner with my family. It's the only time I don't is when I'm doing the functional medicine detox we do once a quarter, I still sit down with them, but I'm sipping on my shake and I explain to them detoxification. I explain to them autophagy. I don't expect my daughters to fully grasp the concept yet, but it's nice to talk to them about health, even though they're just 7 and 9 years old. Anyway, I digress a little bit there, but what I'd like to share with you is this, is that I go from Sunday night, I have dinner with them, to Monday night, and then I have dinner with them. So I go a full 24 hours all day Sunday night, right? So I go, let's say from 6 p.m. to 6 the next morning, right? That's 12 hours. And then what do I go till 6 o'clock that night? So I get 24 hours, right? Or maybe I stop at 5:30 for dinner. So when you look at that, you have to understand is that you can actually eat every single day, but you're missing all of those meals for one 24-hour fast per week. Now, when it comes to weight loss, Brad in his book actually recommended 2 per week. I only recommend 2 24-hour fasts per week if a person just can't follow a healthy diet overall, or that person is actually lab testing to make sure, like something like their stress hormones, mood and metabolism test that you can do right at home. And they're doing that once a month to make sure that thyroid levels are strong still, estrogen dominance is not getting out of control, and that cortisol is not going through the roof. Really important to test those, okay? So once a week though, great for most people. I do it 3 out of 4 Mondays a month. I don't do it every single Monday, but I do it 3 basically out of 4 Mondays a month. And the reason I chose Mondays are super busy for me. I'm meeting with my team all day long, from the IHP team, the Equilife team, the Cabral wellness team. Lots to do, right? Lots to do. And then also, I've most likely had a cheat meal on Saturday night, right? So that's a big part of it too. Sunday, normalized blood sugar. Monday, let me do my fast. And that's how I do it. All right. So, last one is this, right? The 5th one is this, the 1 meal a day diet called the OMAD diet. I will link that up, sometimes referred to as the warrior diet. This is, again, there's often different takes on this, right? There's different takes on paleo, there's different takes on primal, but look at it this way. You're eating within a 1-hour window for 1 meal every evening. It could be 1 meal any time of the day. It's just most people do it at the evening, which is honestly the worst meal to eat right before bed. And again, your sleep data will show you that. But we'll put it this way. You can do a 1-hour window or a 4-hour window. And oftentimes either is allowed. So now though, you're eating all of your calories, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, all within one window. So what does that do? Well, it just places a greater stress on the digestive system when you're packing everything in all at once. And the likelihood that you're going to get in 7 to 9 cups of fruits and vegetables during that time is very low. And then you're probably getting in like a pound of meat, right? Or protein to try to get your protein, because you probably want to get around half your body weight in protein per day. If you're someone that's physically active, right? So if you weigh 160 pounds, you might be trying to get in 80 grams of protein. 80 grams of protein at one meal, it's not the best way to do it. It's really not. There's no real need to ever do an OMAD diet. A lot of people feel better on it, but again, it's because I explained yesterday. They have candida overgrowth, they have H. pylori, they have parasites, they have SIBO, and when they eat different meals throughout the day, it causes them bloating and gas. Well, now they eat this meal and they don't get bloating and gas at one time during the day. You have to fix the digestive system, right? Like that's the issue. And then you can go back to a more normal style of eating. Okay, but I give all the pros and all the cons of the OMAD diet as well, the warrior diet. And I'll link up an in-depth show about each one of these at stephencabral.com/2133. Now, the choice, though, is yours. As I tell every single person in our practice this, my job as an integrative health practitioner, a doctor of naturopathy, is to support you in what you feel is the right choice for you in this moment. If you feel an alternate day diet is the best choice for you, I support you. If you feel a vegan-based diet is the best diet for you, I support you. If you feel a primal diet is the diet that you want to follow, I support you. Okay, my job is to support you. So you choose 16-8, up, down, alternate day, 24-hour, OMAD diet. But I'll tell you this, that if you want to go deeper to figure out what is the best for you, it is always best to run something like the Big 5 lab test that can actually show you your omega-3 levels, your vitamin levels, your mineral levels, your gut function, your energy, mitochondria, etc. That's the Big 5. Or if you just want to test your gut function, you're welcome to do that too with the Candida metabolic and vitamins oat test and the bacteria and parasite stool test. You can always add an IgG food sensitivity test as well. All of those are available at stephencabral.com/labs. That'll take you to the labs that we use. And again, you can run them with your local naturopathic doctor or integrative health practitioner level 2, or with my team over at Equilife. Okay, so what do? Well, I've now been doing this for many, many years. Okay. Intermittent fasting every single day for, let's say, since around 2009, okay? And the reason I wasn't doing it before that is because I was big into bodybuilding, natural bodybuilding, and my goal was to put on as much muscle and mass as possible, and intermittent fasting is not as conducive to putting on muscle mass as possible because you go into a little bit more of a catabolic phase, which is actually healthier because you're doing more digestion, detox, et cetera. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. But so now it's been, 13 years or so? Maybe, yeah, around 13 years. So I've done a lot and I've tried everything. Honestly, I've tried everything. And I had a lot of health issues. And so I got to work through a lot of different things. What is my sweet spot is this: stop eating at 6 o'clock for me, go to bed by 10, start eating again at 8 a.m. And that allows me then a little fuel for the day because I've got busy days, right? And then I have 3 meals. Sometimes I do a smoothie with my workout mid-afternoon if it's a weight training workout. But again, you don't have to do that. I've done 3 meals a day forever, and I just started doing that for harder workouts. But 14 hours a day, that is the sweet spot for me. 16 hours is arbitrary. It honestly is, right? People are like, no, you need 16 hours for this. No, you don't. People's blood sugar is different when they wake up. It's highs and lows. And so 16 hours is a bit arbitrary, right? It can be great. But for me, 14 hours is the sweet spot for me. For you, it might be 12. For someone else, it might be 16. Okay, I'm going to let you choose what's best for you, and you can also look at your biometric data based on that. And then I do 3 to 4 Mondays a month. I do that 1 24-hour fast. That's what works best for me. In terms of up-down days, I don't really need it because I want to fuel my body. I want to have consistent energy levels. I want to have lots of drive, lots of ambition, feel great. So I want to keep my body knowing what it's going to get on what day. There's a lot to be said for that. And then the last part is this, is that I do my once a week longer fast, at 24-hour, but then I do a quarterly fast, right? I do my quarterly functional medicine detox. You can find out more about that at stevencabral.com/detox. You can just check it out, see if it's the right fit for you. And that works, again, extremely well. Then I have 1 to 2 flex meals a week. That means on maybe a Wednesday or Thursday and maybe a Saturday, then I'm having whatever I want to eat at dinner. Okay. And so I get the best of all worlds, I feel, but I'm getting the good nutrition, the proper nutrition for my body while using intermittent fasting. So hopefully this was helpful. Again, please do feel free to leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know what works for you as well. I'd love to hear from you. You can leave that comment right on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, please do feel free to subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell so you can get daily videos sent to you. And then, of course, on Instagram, let us know what you thought. All right, take care, everyone. Have an amazing day, and please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve.